So you want to learn Healing Firebrand, which is one of the best healers in Guild Wars 2 right now. You can provide permanent quickness, a lot of other good boons, and still have amazing flexibility, amazing healing output, very high and frequent stability uptime, and you can be one of the best pre-stackers for frag and can deal with a lot of mechanics at the same time. And this build is for you. It's not the most easiest healer to play, that much is for sure, but if you watch the whole video, you will be able to master Heal Firebrand in no time. But now, let's jump right in. So let's now talk about the gear. For gear, you want to go full Harrier with Rune of the Water. The only exception would be your back piece. Your back piece should be Magi. You can swap your Harrier stats for Giver stats if you want to get more toughness. You can even go Minstrel, but I would say it's not necessary and also not important. You should go for the most power and stuff you can get. And of course you can go Giver or Minstrel if you need to tank, for example, but for example in Fractals I would go with Harrier for sure. For your weapons you want to go with Shield and Axe in one hand, and in the other hand you want to go with Staff. Both of them again, of course, all three of them with Harrier and Superior Sigil of Concentration and Superior Sigil of Transference from both weapon sets. If you can run infusions, you would go with Healing Infusions. For your Relic, you always want to go with Relic of the Flock, or just some nice barrier or healing, depending on if you're full health, on your healing skill. On a 10-second cooldown, really nice. A lot of barrier for your allies as well. Like I said, you can swap around stuff if you need more defenses, but you can also swap, for example, an Axe to a Mace to get more healing output. But you have to be aware though that your other support should then cover at least some amount of Fury so that you can permanently upkeep Fury, which is obviously really important for your DPS. So if you can't do that, if your support is not helping you, the other one, the offensive one, then you have to stay with X. That's very important. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. But now back to the video. So for the traits, you want to go with Honor, Virtues and Firebrand. In Honor, you get a lot of nice vigor application. You get some very strong, that's very important, healing on the end of your dodge roll. Really good. You get some nice endurance increase on your Virtue skill too. That's for you only, but we will get to that, why it's important. Then we get passively a protection symbol when we cast your healing skill every 20 seconds. You could see that already here. It's really nice. Then you get some nice might when you critically strike. You will do that because you have Fury all the time, so you will actually happen to get some might out of that, so be always attacking. And then we have some nice healing passively from your symbols. Doesn't seem like a lot, but the radius increase is also quite nice, and the duration increase helps a lot to just get more boons out because all your symbols give boons, and the healing helps a little bit. It's not crazy amount of healing, but overall it can help quite a lot. Then you have Virtues, just some nice boons on your Virtues, and more resolution, and the recharge reduction helps. On Firebrand, the Virtues are referring to activating your tomes. So your tomes, you see they are now blue, and if I activate it, I get the boons. If I swap out of them, it's red, so that means the boons that I would have gotten from swapping in are now on cooldown, and it takes a while to get back. So that's how it works on Firebrand. We have some nice concentration increase. We currently don't run any concentrations, but we have quite a lot of useful ones. We will see that when we get to the skills. So that's really important. Then Absolute Resolve, really helpful to cleanse conditions, so that only works when it's blue, but still really good. And the passive healing is stronger. You can swap that if you don't need the Condi Cleanse to Glacial Heart, because then all your CCs will heal your allies. That it's overall a better healing skill if you have a lot of CCs, which you have typically in this kit, and you don't need the Condi Cleanse. So both of those traits really good. And then we have Battle Presence. Always take Battle Presence in conjunction with Absolute Resolve. Why is that? Nearby allies gain the passive effects of Virtue of Skill 2. So that means not only the passive healing of that, because it's stronger, but also the increased endurance region of your skill 2. So all of that is shared to your allies. It's really good if you need more healing. If you want to get some more stability, can always happen, you go for Indomitable Courage, because then your active skill 3 will now apply, your F3 will now apply stability and is a stun break. So typically if you use Indomitable Courage, you would go with Glacial Heart, and if you're going for Battle Presence, you would go with Absolute Resolve. That's the typical combination. It's really good. So adjust it whenever you need it to. But you have a lot of stability already, so I would say for the most part, Battle Presence and Absolute Resolve or Glacial Heart should be enough. On Firebrand, you get access to your tomes and your pages. So your tomes work like that if you swap into a tome, you get access to new weapon skills, and whenever you use them, they cost some pages. And those pages are shared between all those tomes. So that means if you, for example, use this one, it will cost 1 page, and you can't, so to say, use it for the next 20 seconds, but you can use the other tome skills that all cost a page, but there are some tome skills like this one, Unbroken Lines, that costs actually 2 pages. So be careful with how many skills you use, because you might end up in a situation where you can't use your tome skills at all anymore. They regenerate after a while, and you can regenerate them with some traits. Let's now jump right in. So, Liberator's Vow. Every 7 seconds you apply quickness when you use a healing skill around you. That has a radius, so that's really important. That's AoE around you, 360. So that already gives you quite a high amount of uptime of quickness if you stand on your allies, if you spam your healing skill. Of course, your healing skill has a higher cooldown than the 7-second internal cooldown, so be aware of that, but still a lot of quickness. Then, equipping a virtue grants you quickness. That's only for yourself. Every 3rd tome skill grants you pages. So that means whenever you cast 3 skills that cost pages, you actually get a page back. You saw this one didn't actually cost a page because I instantly got it back. Really helpful, so that means that you can actually get your pages all. But be aware, stacks reset when exiting a tome. So that means that you actually can't use 1 of each tome to actually get that. No, you have to use 3 in the same tome. That's especially important if you are, for example, in healing tome. That's where you only typically want to spam 3 pages. All the others, it's not very common to actually spam 3. So be aware of that, and be aware that this is actually only self-quickness. So you get 6 seconds of quickness when you swap in. So that means that often it's the case that you have perma-quickness very easily because of this trait, but the allies might not have. Now let's talk about weighted terms. So it gives you some nice slow application on your mantra, final charge. That's just some nice CC, but very important, it grants you pages when you use your final mantra skill. So that's really good, because that means you can easily regenerate all your pages just by pressing all the mantra buttons through. And the cool part is, Firebrand mantras are not like you have recharged them. Whenever they are off cooldown, you actually get it back. So that's really, really nice. And we have some nice attribute increases when you have quickness, and which you should obviously have permanently. And then Stoic the Mana. Retain courage passives while it's on cooldown, so F3. And grant wounds to nearby allies when you are disabled, immobilized, or slow an enemy. So that's really good. That's the thing why you take it. 1 second ICD, so whenever you disable, you apply resistance and 3 stacks of might. That's really, really good. It's also applying when you use slow, so you can do that with your weighted term trait. So it's actually really good. But you can swap that if you want to Lawmaster, if you need more pages, and you also will get the 2 skill of the Tome of Resolve passively all the time. So if you don't need, or if you don't need access to resistance and you can cover the might other ways, then you can swap to Lawmaster. You can also swap to Stalwart Speed if you don't need the page generation, because then you have a very easy time of actually giving access to quickness. Because when you grant Aegis of Stability, you also grant quickness. It's really good. So you have a lot of changes that you can make to the traits already to actually adjust it to the situation. Please be aware of that, it's really important. Now let's talk about the skills. So on your weapon skills, you have some nice blast finisher and some healing. You have some nice symbol that gives swiftness, and of course is a light field, so you can cleanse condis when you use a blast field in there. Then Empower gives some nice healing and might. You can use that in a fight, but you will be rooted in place, so be aware of that. And you have some nice potential CC, but it's in PvE not that useful. It's more like a world versus world thing, or PvP. Then on X, like I already mentioned, use the Fury of your symbol. It's lose it off cooldown, it's really important. And you use your CC or pull if you need it, but of course use it off cooldown if you have a defined target, because it applies might and resistance to your allies, really nice. Then you have some nice block and Aegis in front of you, so you have to position yourself correctly to actually help your allies with that one. And then you have some nice AoE block of projectiles. If you double tap it, you actually get some healings to your allies as well. So use that wisely as well. In your tomes, let's quickly cover the tome skills. The 5 skill is really important because it applies a lot of might around your allies. Typically you can use the 4 skill for some fire field, combo blasting with blast finishers to get some might. The 2 skill is also blast finisher, and the 3 skill is a pull. So make use out of the skills situationally, only use the 5 skill as a rotation for the might. In the F2 tome, you get some nice healing, even though in the 1 skill, get some Condi cleanse that has amazing healing if you cleanse a lot of Condis, also for your allies. Be aware that 1 skill is again in a cone in front of you, so you really have to be positioning correctly to actually heal your allies. The 3 skill you should use off cooldown because it's not only healing a lot, but also giving swiftness, reach, and vigor permanently just by using the skills off cooldown to all your allies in the AoE. So be aware, hit that, and really try to use it off cooldown. The 4th skill is some nice water field. It can be used to blast in with your blast finishers, for example, if you quickly swap around in the tomes. And the 5 skill is really powerful. You should not use it if you don't need it, because it's costing 2 pages. But if you need it, it's amazing. It is a condi conversion. So 5 condis on you and your allies around you will actually be converted into boons. And for the next 8 seconds, they receive 33% more healing. That's insane. So if it's a really tough situation, use that skill and then use your really burst heals on them, and they will be topped off again. It's really, really good. Then we have the F3 skill. The 1 skill gives some nice protection and swiftness, again in a cone, so please be aware of that. The 2 skill is some nice taunt and melee, so that's a nice CC. The 3 skill is some nice reflect when you put it down the bubble, really good. The 4 skill is a stun break for you, and is a resistance pulsing field, so that can be helpful as well. But typically you use those 3 skills whenever you need them, but don't spam them on cooldown. And then the 5 skill is a very strong skill that also costs 2 pages, but is giving you and your allies protection, stability, Aegis, and 300 toughness for 5 seconds. So please use that carefully, because that can, for example, if you're not the tank, you use the skill only on you, it can lead to you actually getting tanked because of the toughness. So please be aware of that. And now let's cover the utility skills. So for the utility skills, always run Mantra of Solids. It's really strong. It gives you some nice protection to your allies, some healing, self-healing, but it's also giving the protection to your allies, and it's casting the symbol every 20 seconds. And that's the important part, you get some quickness around you. So that's why you take it. It's really useful there. You should only use it once to proc the flock rune and stuff as well, but only try to use it whenever you have 3 charges. You should not go down to 0, because then the cooldown is longer. You should only go down if you really need the healing. Typically in rotation, should only use it once every charge, so it's really important. Then you always have Mantra of Potence. That's the one for giving quickness and might, and that's the most important thing about Heal Firebrand is the Mantra of Potence. That you position with your Mantra of Potence to give quickness and might in front of you. So that means that you have to align that the cone actually is hitting your allies in front of you. So that you should always position behind them, but not too far away. And they should be all in this cone. So that's really important that they stack and that you position correctly, because that's important. Otherwise, you can't upkeep quickness and might all the time if you don't do that correctly. And to use it in a rotation, you actually would spam all 3 charges. And then you have almost half of the time covered already, and then you just let it run, and whenever it's coming back, you use it again. So please be aware, position correctly for the skill. You always have those 2 skills on your bar. And the last 3 skills are actually changeable. So we have Stand Your Ground that you can use. It's amazing for stability, very good in raids and fractals. It's not always needed. If you don't need stability, you can swap that, for example, for the Reflect if you need a Reflect. You can swap it to more Condi Cleanses if you need it. You can swap it to even more stability on a fire field if you need it. You can use a infrequent but strong CC on the Sanctuary if you want it. And also blocks missiles and heals, really strong. You can swap it to, for example, Advance if you want some more swiftness and Aegis around you. You can even swap it to Hold the Line if you need more protection or region for whatever reason. You can swap to, for example, Bane Signet for more CC. And you can use Bow of Truth for more healing. There are so many options. You can even run Signet of Mercy if you need more concentration for whatever reason, or more importantly, probably because of the revive of a downed ally, which you can't retarget, but still can be really helpful. Or you can use it, for example, Merciful Intervention if you need some reviving and teleporting around. You can even use Judge's Intervention for whatever reason if you do a mechanic and want to go back to the boss quickly. There are so many options. Even the hammer or the shield can be useful. So I think Guardian has the most options when it comes to utility skills. And then you can use, of course, Mantra of Law as well. I would say that's the go-to option if you don't need more stability. It gives some nice region. It cleanses 2 conditions from your allies. This alone keeps 100% region up. Again, be careful with the positioning. It's also a cone in front of you. And it's a lot of healing passively. And the last one is also converting 5 conditions into 5 wounds. So it's really, really good if you really have a fight with a lot of condition pressure. And then your elite skill, you always should use Feel My Wrath if you don't need more stability, because it gives some nice fury access. It almost alone covers the fury for your party, so if you run that, you can easily drop the symbol if you have a little bit of fury access as well. And then the quickness is quite nice as well, and the super speed. But if you need, for example, more stability, you can go with Mantra of Liberation, which is some really nice stability and resolution access, and that's the important part here as well. It's also a stun break for your allies. So if your allies are getting stunned, you can actually stun break them with that. It's really, really good. And if you need a lot of stability, I would say the setup would be like something like that. And you have a lot of stability in your kit. And you would probably also swap your trait to Indomitable Courage so that your F3 is also a stability provider. Because then you have Stand Your Ground, you have Hallowed Ground, you have Mantra of Liberation, you have the Tome of Courage swap in, you have the Unbroken Lines, and you see you have so many access tools to stability that you can actually upkeep a lot of stability, most likely 100% of the important phases where you need stability. So it's really, really strong. So as always, the Ascended Food bowl of fruit salad with wind garnish is the best option for a healer. If you can't afford that or you don't have Ascended cooking yet, then go with delicious rice balls. You get 10% outgoing healing power here, and this one is just less concentration, so typically this is better. But if you can't afford it, what can you do? So healing power and concentration perfectly. And then on your utility slot, the best option is by far, and I'm really talking by far, Bountiful Maintenance Oil. Yes, I know it's expensive, but if you want to play the best option possible, this is immense how much outgoing healing power you get. Let's now quickly talk about the rotation. Start the fight with your Symbol of Swiftness to get some swiftness down, and then use your Restoring Reprieve to get some protection, always positioned correctly. Then use your Potent Haste and use it, of course, that the cone actually hits the allies. Then you weapon swap and use the Symbol of Vengeance if you are on X, and use another Potent Haste charge. And while you swap to the F1 tome to actually apply some might with the Epilogue Ashes of the Just, that's very important that you use it. Then you use the last charge of your mantra to provide quickness, overwhelming celerity. So you always position in a way that you get the quickness and the might to all your allies. And then you swap out of the tome again, Tome of Justice, and swap into Tome of Resolve to use Azure Sun, so the 3 skill. And after that, you typically just use always your healing skill if you have 3 charges up, and use all your Mantra of Potence stacks, so the quickness mantra stacks, whenever it comes off cooldown. So you spam all 3. Of course, position yourself before that correctly. And whenever you use a Symbol of Vengeance, when it comes off, you also can swap into your Tome of Resolve to use the Azure Sun skill, which is the 3 skill. So they always come off cooldown together. Other than that, you just stick to your Axe and Shield if you want to. You can also go to the Staff for some swiftness. But then be aware that you don't have a very easy way of telling when to use the Azure Sun again. And of course, use your utility skills whenever necessary. But this is the key concept of how you actually apply boons on Firebrand. And very important, if you need a lot of healing, be aware that you can dodge to heal. That's really, really nice. That heals allies around you. And also that you have a lot of passive heals. So, for example, if you're running with the Mantra of Lore, where you have a lot of regen as well, you actually have a lot of regen passively taking. You have your Tome of Resolve passively taking if you have the Battle Presence trait, and that keeps the allies' health topped up. And if you need a lot of burst healing, you typically would use, for example, a Staff, or more importantly, you have 2 Tome to actually apply a lot of healing as well. And don't forget that your Empower and your Dodge also heals, and your Shield can heal. So you have a lot of tools actually to heal, but you have to use them wisely and especially position yourself correctly to actually make it useful. And you can see in the background, this build is really, really fun to play. It's a really, let's say, fast-paced playstyle. You have a lot of tools in your kit baseline. You can swap a lot around, not only utility skills and elite skills, but also traits and even weapons. So it's very versatile in what it can bring. And if you can master this build, you will carry your group through all content. But positioning is key. That's the most important factor here. So I hope now you understand Firebrand and you actually want to play it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. If you are more of a DPS enjoyer, be sure to check out this Dragon Hunter Longbow build guide that I released a while ago. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon. Thanks Malice, thanks Lane, and I hope to see you all in the next video.